My name is Audrey Sue. I am an OB/GYN, and the first time I realized that something was wrong with my husband, it actually stemmed from an ER session. My husband, who was out of town on a business trip, was sent to the ER at my hospital with another woman. The kicker was that the woman was yelling at us to hurry up and save my husband. In the wee hours of the morning, I had just finished 2 ectopic pregnancy surgeries and was exhausted when I got a call for a consult in the ER. Just as I arrived at the ER, I saw Dr. 120 pushing a man and a woman into the ER lobby with a transfer stretcher cart. They were a married couple. The man had fallen in the shower and hurt his knee badly, and the woman, who was pregnant, had fainted from worrying too much. However, we have already taken first aid measures before the hospital, and the pregnant woman is now conscious. 120 The doctor briefly talked about the patient's situation. Hubby, are you okay? Don't scare me. Doctor, please. Show my husband first. I'm fine. Before the pregnant woman could finish, she was pushed to another resuscitation room. When I was hesitating whether she was a patient who needed a consultation, I glanced out of the corner of my eye at the man who had just been carried to the resuscitation bed, and I froze when I saw his familiar face. Wasn't this my husband Derek Wong, who was out of town on a business trip? Derek Wong, when did you become a couple with another woman? How come I don't know? I took a big step forward, stood to the side of the resuscitation bed, pulled the curtain over the head of the bed, and asked straight away. At this time, we were the only 2 people here, and he was in a white bathrobe, curled up with his hands on his swollen left knee, rolling back and forth on the bed in pain. And the moment Derek Wong looked up and saw me, he first froze, then rubbed his eyes incredulously. His half-open mouth seemed to have forgotten the pain, and he was so surprised that he could stuff half an egg into it. Didn't I say go to the community clinic? That low whine, mixed with a wave of exasperation, defeated all his lies. As an OB/GYN at X City People's Hospital, I've seen too many strange incidents of cheating, but when this actually happened to me, I still had a hard time accepting it. Obviously before the business trip, he was still warming up to me in bed. Obviously last night he was still in a WeChat video. Said this business trip is very hard. Let me come back to treat him well. I am in the hospital exhausted on the night. But he and other women in the name of husband and wife outside to get away. But also tossed to the hospital. It is really ironic and ridiculous. A wave of unspeakable anger rushed straight to the top of my head, and all I could do was clutch the stethoscope in my hand to keep the rage factor from exploding out of my body. I looked at him coldly, my teeth clenched by me, while the embarrassment and panic on Derek Wong's face grew thicker and thicker. Honey, don't take this the wrong way. You let me explain. I swear, this is the first time. Give me some face. The first time? Lying ghost. I looked at the supplication on his face and only felt incomparably disgusted and hateful. There are only 0 and countless times to cheat. I will never forgive. Forgiving him would mean that in the days to come, I would be in haywire at the slightest hint of him. Doubt was like a dull knife. It wouldn't kill me, but it would make me worse than dead. I took a deep breath, and the moment I exhaled, I adjusted my emotions and regained my usual composure. If you don't want your face, I have to take it. Now hand tear him. Although it will be a moment of cool, but tear-faced divorce. Let him share half of my property, and then take my money and mistress double date. But also let me in the hospital to become everyone after dinner talk joke. How this works out. I'm losing money. So I need to take a step back for now. I need to hold back so that I can have time to learn the ins and outs of things. Only by knowing my enemy and myself can I make them pay a terrible price. Director Sue. So you're here. The pregnant woman who needs your consultation is next door. A young emergency female doctor trotted over and saw me and hurriedly explained. In the meantime, the orthopedic surgeon had already arrived and briefly checked Derek Wong's body. Let's do an MRI first. After that, several nurses came forward to push the resuscitation bed, and I pretended to come forward to help. But I didn't move at all and put Derek Wong's cell phone into the pocket of my surgical gown. As I watched the ambulance being pushed farther and farther away, until it disappeared at the end of the corridor, I suddenly felt a twinge of happiness. Fortunately, I was still in training when I got married, and I didn't notify the hospital to attend the wedding banquet. Otherwise, this matter today would have become a colorful mark on my career. Not only will I lose face, but it will also make me a joke in the department. Drawing my eyes back from the end of the corridor, I walked straight into the resuscitation room where Mistress was. Just in time. Finally found what I was looking for. And got it with no trouble at all. And she's pregnant? How is this possible? I don't know how Derek Wong and Mistress are feeling, but I'm holding my breath now, full of hate. I want to use Mistress Belly to make them never recover. Never in the matter of cheating. Male scum. Female bitch. How can a fly bite a seamless egg? When I saw Mistress, I was even more convinced of this. A sweet-looking girl, painted choo-choo poor makeup, is lying on the bed crying pear blossom with rain. This shy look. How can not provoke Derek Wong's favorite? How can not provoke his macho attitude of protection? But that crying for a long time did not spend the base makeup and eye makeup. Betrayed her heart. Seeing someone come in, Mistress stopped crying. Opened a pair of pretend naive and innocent eyes. Doctor. My husband something? Said. Made a gesture to come to tug my arm. I just feel nauseous. Instinctive sighed. So that she pounced on an empty. Looking at her that pitiful look. I am more in no mood to answer. Derek Wong is not here. To whom to make a show? And worried to the point of fainting. How is it possible? Or is she deliberately coming to the hospital, wanting me to open up with the front? But the way she asked me the question, she didn't look like she recognized me. Or maybe she didn't recognize me. At this time, because I just got out of surgery, I was wrapped tightly in a surgical gown, sterile surgical cap and mask, only revealing a pair of eyes outside. So, it's not surprising that she couldn't recognize me. In order to test, I deliberately pretended to take off the mask and cap without thinking, and intentionally met her innocent eyes. The tone of voice sparse ordinary. Where do you feel uncomfortable? A little tummy is a little uncomfortable. I'm pregnant. Doctor. When Mistress said this, there was not the slightest ripple in her eyes. No anger. No curiosity. No jealousy. Calm emotions as if she was looking at any strange doctor in general. Intuition told me that she really didn't know me. Why? Her heart is not shallow. Is not a stupid white sweet. By definition, have interfered in other people's marriages. Why not investigate the original partner? Is it because she does not want to get to the top? Then what does she want? Derek Wong is not very rich and should not be her first choice. With her looks and means, wouldn't it be even easier to find a trust fund kid in minutes? Love? This reason is even more bullshit. I put the mask back on, my brain racing with thoughts while I put on sterile gloves and instructed her to lie flat. Ready to examine her. How far along is the pregnancy? 50 days. I don't know why. But I always felt like she was answering this question almost without thinking out loud, as if she had prepared for it. However, Since she doesn't know me, I might as well make it count. If I tear it up head on now, in addition to spooking the snake, it will give her the opportunity to use the issue to make use of it, and even evolve into a medical dispute disgusting me. For the sake of this momentary pleasure, it is really not worth it. Not wise. I will arrange an ultrasound for you. After the examination, I took off my gloves and threw them straight into the medical waste garbage can. Doctor, is there something wrong? Do I need to be hospitalized? Mistress immediately tensed up, wiped the tear stains from the corner of her eyes, gathered her clothes, and sat up straight. After doing the observation and then say, but in your case, it is necessary to be hospitalized. Don't be anxious. Wait for the results to come out. When I spoke, the expression on my face kept becoming serious, but the rest of my eyes kept paying attention to the expression on Mistress' face. As I watched the concern grow on her face, I knew that being careful with my words and being purposeful was easier to achieve than being persuasive and even magnifying the risks. Many patients have a strange reverse psychology when it comes to hospitalization. The more you hospitalize her, the more she thinks you're going to get the better of her in general. So the more I try to hospitalize the mistress, the more slapdash I have to be. That way she'll feel like the choice is hers, and she'll instead be more at peace with the pros and cons. Only if she fell into my hands would I have a chance to approach her and clean her up. Sure enough, Mistress thought for a while, seemed determined, and blurted out, Doctor, no matter what the outcome is, I want to be hospitalized. I can't let anything happen to my baby. This baby of mine is too important. My heart flashed with a hint of triumph. But my face did not move at all. After the test results came out, I took a brief look at them and quickly hospitalized her, and specially instructed the nurse to arrange a 53-bed single room for her. When I used the mistress ID card to hospitalize her, I found out that her name was Luna Liu and she was 25 years old. She is 10 years younger than the 35-year-old me. She was in the best years of her youth, but she had done the most humiliating thing to her youth, and she was pregnant with someone else's child. Derek Wong and I have been married for 8 years. For the first 5 years, he wanted to have fun and didn't want to be tied down by a child too soon. So we used birth control. But in the past 3 years of preparing for pregnancy, my stomach has not moved. Why is Mistress but pregnant so goddamned fast? When exactly did they hook up? And all of this was answered when I looked through Derek Wong's cell phone. His cell phone was set up with a 6-digit passcode. And I tried my birthday, his birthday, our wedding anniversary, my Mrs. Wong's birthday, and all failed. Finally, with the last glimmer of hope, I tried Luna Liu's birthday, 961,001, and got in. I was actually a little glad that Derek Wong is a big straight man. As I flipped through Derek Wong's phone, I realized that quantum speed reading might actually exist in the world. My heart was beating wildly, but my brain was incredibly clear and calm. I quickly skipped over the babies, kisses, I love yous, and mamas, and I grabbed 4 key points in the chat logs. First, the 2 were colleagues in the utility company, a male boss and a female subordinate. Sure enough, there is a natural nutrient-based environment to cultivate feelings. Even if it is in the unit eyebrow and eye to eye, it is not easy to be found by me. This everyday busy hands and feet do not touch the ground. Second, Mistress is 3 years ago just graduated from the university came to this unit. 3 months ago the 2 formally hooked up together, and she is just found pregnant about 50 days. Third, Derek Wong WeChat has a divorce certificate. He threw out the time of this divorce certificate. Is in 3 months ago? Which also explains why Luna Lu will be blind to me this original match. Who will care about an ex-wife it? So external they are so bold. Claiming to be husband and wife? Although nowadays technology is advanced. PS a fake divorce certificate is a matter of minutes. But Derek Wong's painstaking efforts still impressed me. Even shocked cold sweat. The red packets keep coming. In addition to her birthday. The first week of confirming the relationship. Half a month. A month to the back of the pregnancy. Luna Lu seems to be in a variety of ways and reasons to ask for money from Derek Wong. Which just 3 months. Derek Wong WeChat transferred her more than 100,000 yuan. Half of this property was sponsored by me. The money was earned by me by working all year round in the operating room every day doing surgeries until I was about to die suddenly. The thought that the money I had worked so hard and desperately to earn had been spent on mistress. An uncontrollable rage welled up in my heart. I will get this money back with interest. Just there is still a little bit of doubt lingering in my mind. Although Derek Wong out of the hand is also considered generous. But he in addition to counting a property heir. Not even a middle class. Why Luna Lu want to linger on this tree in him? Or is Derek Wong just one of her many suitors? I glanced at the time on the wall clock in the medical office. Guessing that Derek Wong's MRI of his knee would have been done by now. I quickly cleared his phone of any traces of me looking through it. Quickly got off the elevator. And put the phone back on the cabinet next to the ER resuscitation bed. When I turned around and went out of the resuscitation room, I saw the young female doctor from earlier and pretended to look for something. Have you seen my stethoscope? No. I haven't. I'll look for it again. Maybe I left it somewhere. After saying that, I turned around and was about to leave, pretending to remember inadvertently. By the way, there is a cell phone in the resuscitation room. I do not know whose it is. The female doctor thought for a moment. It might be the one with the knee injury just now. Director Sue. Go and get busy. They'll call the orthopedic department later and ask. If I find the stethoscope, they'll use the transmission bucket to send it to you. Director Sue. Medical office. I looked through Luna Liu's medical records page by page, thinking back to how she was so adamant that she was 50 days pregnant. I always felt that there was something deliberate about her. But when I saw the HCG value of 250,000 myo/ml and the ultrasound report from her pregnancy test, I suddenly smiled because the doubts that had been lingering in my mind had finally dissipated. The ultrasound report showed a recognizable image of a fetus on the head, buttocks and limbs. And from a professional point of view, this almost fledgling fetus was at least 3 months old. If it was really 50 days pregnant, the ultrasound would have shown a gestational sac at most. Remembering Derek Wong's chats with her, she kept emphasizing that she was only about 50 days pregnant. And that she had gone to such great lengths to lie and hide. Just because she didn't want Derek Wong to know the real month of her pregnancy. So what ulterior motive was she trying to hide? Whose baby is it? But no matter whose it is, it won't be Derek Wong's baby. Derek Wong has been immersed in the excitement and joy of becoming a father. And if one day he learns the truth, how crazy he would be. As the saying goes, if you know your enemy and know yourself, you can fight 100 battles without danger. I'm glad that the step back 3 hours ago gave me a sea of future. It was 3 in the morning, and it was pitch black outside the window. But my brain is extraordinarily awake. A more and more clear plan of revenge is gradually taking shape in my mind. Only by using his spear can he attack his shield and destroy what you care about most. After writing the medical records, I barked to the nurse to call my cell phone if anything happened, and only then went back to the lounge. I washed my face and looked at myself in the mirror, both haggard and tired. but it always felt like something was missing. So I took out the eye drops from the drawer, put a few drops in and rubbed them vigorously as my eyes began to turn red. Only then satisfied, picked up the cell phone, dialed Derek Wong. Let's talk. 15 minutes later, Derek Wong entered my lounge with a pain pump in one hand and a wheelchair in the other. He stopped across the hall from me, his face free of the mess and haste he had felt in the emergency room. In this private space where only he and I were, he regained his macho attitude condescension, lowered his head slightly, and began to apologize. "I'm sorry, wife. I was wrong. But so is this society. Young little girls these days. You can't even imagine how proactive they are. No matter what. I'm also a guy. In this kind of thing, we didn't lose out." The perfunctory and loud words revealed between the words, as if he had drunk too much wine and accidentally returned home late. There is no need to make such a big deal out of it. Besides, Audrey Sue, you are not without fault. Although you've earned a lot over the years, you haven't given me a son after all. So, Audrey Sue, I just want a child. What is wrong? My head, which had been lowered, was slowly raised when I heard these words. I pretended to be surprised, and my eyes were already full of tears. In order to act in a realistic image, I even secretly pinched myself hard. For so many years, except for the wedding day when I was moved to tears. Other times, I had never shed a single tear in front of him. And I have never realized as deeply as I do today that Derek Wong is so brazen. The logic he presented to me shattered my 3 views. He believes that cheating is not a man's fault. It's not at all that he wants to go and enjoy the happiness of all men, with red flags at home and colorful flags flying outside. Rather, he was forced to do it because he had a defective wife at home. As if he did it reluctantly because I held a knife to his neck. Even in the records of his chatting with Luna Liu, I became a woman of 10 evils who suffocated him without a single space. He was just trying to break free from the prison of marital bondage. An innocent victim. "So, you let another woman have a baby?" I asked him with tears in my eyes and a sad face. Seeing my show of weakness, Derek Wong stood up from his wheelchair, limped to the side of my bed, and swept me into his arms. I fought back the nausea and did not resist. "You know it all. It is also right. She has been arranged by you to be hospitalized. The matter between me and her certainly cannot be hidden from you. Alas, paper cannot wrap the fire after all. However, this is good. Cece, I am planning to walk with you for a lifetime. But I also desire to have a child. Eneen. She is simple and lovely. And she is a college student. The child she gave birth to, at the very least, has a blood relationship with me. It is better than us going to adopt one that we don't know the roots of. Right?" I admit that I was pretending to be weak and aggrieved just now. But the look of surprise on my face when I heard Derek Wong's words at the moment was unmistakably real. Cheating is not scary. What's scary is that you still want me to coexist with mistress. It's not enough for you to be a father. But you want me to be a mother? I need time. I was silent for a long time before I slowly squeezed out 5 words. The expression on my face was varied and complicated. Both tangled and agonized. And more than anything else, angry and aggrieved. Only in this way would Derek Wong feel that I was making a difficult choice after careful consideration. "Honey, think carefully. This matter concerns our bright future. You should rest early." After saying that, Derek Wong gently released me and patted my back. The moment he got up, I clearly caught the smirk of triumph on his face. Watching him limp into the wheelchair again, the moment he closed the door, wanting to speak again and again, finally said to me, "Don't be difficult for Eneen," until the sound of the wheelchair completely disappeared. I then sneered out, "How could I make things difficult for Luna Lu? I was happier than any of you that she was pregnant with a child. I was looking forward to the child in her belly growing up quickly so that my revenge would come faster. This night, I hardly slept. After the early shift, I dragged my tired body and just wanted to go home to rest. But I realized that there was still a patient standing at the door who had long ago made an appointment to have an abortion today. It's all grown up. But there's always a lot of irresponsible people who do awful things to interrupt your plans. Let's go." As I said that, I took her to the small operating room. After the abortion was done and the patient left, I took off my gloves and was about to throw them into the yellow medical waste bag against the wall when I thought I heard Derek Wong's voice. "Baby, don't worry. They'll find a way to get the demolition money. I'm still waiting to improve my life for you and my son. Hubby, I knew that you are the most loving. Me and will not aggravate. Me and my son." This small operating room, and the 53 bed next to it, was originally a big room. And in the later stage, because there were too many patients, it was separated into a single room. Because it is a late change, so this wall is nothing more than a thin layer of floorboards. So, what is said next door can still be vaguely heard. And these words, like a sharp blade piercing into my heart, made my whole body involuntarily slide slowly along the wall. And even more so, made me completely see Derek Wong's true face. 4 or 5 hours ago, he was still coaxing me to stay with me for a long time. But in the blink of an eye, he didn't care about my existence and came to Luna Lu so blatantly. From the beginning to the end, he does not love anyone. He loves only himself. And Luna Lu, this bitch, spent so much of my money, but not satisfied, but also continued to borrow the child in the belly to constantly pressure Derek Wong. I have no way to vent the indignation in my heart. Holding onto the wall and slowly standing up, my fingers clasping the wall, all to gouge out blood. I will make sure that you two scummy men and women will never be able to get back. My husband is a property heir. The family's bungalow demolition for 3 sets. 1 set of in-laws live, a set of us live, and a set sold. Derek Wong and I added some money for a set of school district home. Thinking of the future has a child to go to school more convenient. But I have never heard of any eviction money. It seemed necessary to go to Mrs. Wong's house. 3 days later, it happened to be Mrs. Wong's birthday. Derek Wong has always been a filial son. Even when he was hospitalized, he would not miss Mrs. Wong's birthday. Just like when I arrived at the bottom of Mrs. Wong's building, he pretended to be walking normally. But he also told me, "Don't tell Mom that I'm in the hospital, so that she won't be worried. It is lest she knows the truth. Will slap you a big mouth." I looked at Derek Wong's face, flashed a trace of embarrassment, only to feel ridicule. But the face does not reveal the feeling. Nodded to be answered. From the heart. Mrs. Wong, only Derek Wong, an only son. To me as a daughter-in-law is also treated like a biological daughter. So Derek Wong cheating things. I do not want to tell her. The key thing is that I can't tell her now. Because the time is not ripe yet. Mom, take a quick look. Like it or not. As soon as I entered the door, I took out a heritage gold bracelet from an exquisite box and put it on Mrs. Wong's hand. Mrs. Wong is fond of gold. Looking at her touching the heavy, yellow bracelet, her face had already smiled. But her mouth was still a bit reluctant. This will not be too expensive. It's not easy for you to earn money. Don't break the bank. Or return it. Mom. This is your first birthday gift after retirement. As long as you like it. I watched Mrs. Wang take off the bracelet and hurriedly stopped her. At this moment, I was sincere. And at this moment, Derek Wang took out the ticket from the box, took a special look and was a bit shocked. 30,000. Mom. You see how much your daughter-in-law loves you. After saying that, a trace of displeasure flashed across his face, which meant that he blamed me for buying such an expensive gift without discussing with him in advance. Derek Wang is indeed filial, but his premise of filial piety is not to exceed his psychological price. Of course, this explicit price does not include for himself. Oh yes. Now there is also a pregnant Luna Lu. I simply ignored him and unilaterally gave Mrs. Wang an incredibly sincere look. Mom. If it weren't for you, where would Derek Wang and I be today? The reason I say this is because my daughter-in-law was chosen by Mrs. Wang. When I first joined the hospital, I was still in training, and I was rotating in Mrs. Wang's internal medicine system, and Mrs. Wang took an immediate liking to me. According to her, she joked that my clean fingernails without any nail polish had grown on her aesthetics. To be precise, it was my intelligence, kindness, sincerity and positivity that attracted her. Although I was born and raised in the countryside, but was able to squeeze through the college entrance examination this wooden bridge. The examination of the master's degree in clinical medicine. Alone this line of education, with his son is more than enough. In her words, just to make up for his son's educational deficiencies. A good education for the next generation. And his filial son, although macho attitude, will always refer to Mrs. Wang's opinion. So, Derek Wang is also very good to me. I think I am gentle and considerate. Good understanding. Do not fight and do not grab. It's just that I didn't understand until now. My gentle and considerate. Do not scramble. In the eyes of Derek Wang, bullshit is not worth it. Just think I'm good to hold. Good to fool. He simply thought I was the kind of person who would sacrifice everything to be able to take care of his macho attitude mood. And even let me raise his and mistress child. If that's the case, then why didn't I play the scene properly with him? How gentle and considerate I am at this time. How ruthless and heartless I will be when the time comes. Am never soft when it comes to this kind of shameless scum. Mom. Come in. I have something to tell you. Derek Wang said while pulling Mrs. Wang towards the bedroom. What is it? Mrs. Wang is in a very good mood today. Looking at me busy in the kitchen, she felt a bit apologetic. Let's talk about it later. They'll cook with Cece first. It's okay, Mom. You guys talk. I'll do it myself. I love to cook. It's not like you don't know. Hurry up and go. Dongzi will be in a hurry. I pushed Mrs. Wang into the bedroom before turning back to the kitchen, pinching my face with a somewhat stiff smile, my eyes returning to their usual indifference. I purposely turned up the smoke machine to the maximum, then washed a few strawberries that Mrs. Wang loved to eat, and tiptoed towards Mrs. Wang's bedroom with a plate in my hand. The door was open. Mom. When are you going to give me Audrey Z's share of the demolition money? That's for my grandson. That won't cost $500,000. Give me 200,000 first. I'm in a tight spot lately. I need money urgently. I can't. Mom. You promised to give me the money if I marry Audrey Sue. I don't want to hear the rest of it. And am not interested in hearing it. I thought that cheating, promiscuity, and selfishness were synonymous with Derek Wong. But I didn't realize that even our marriage, which started out as a labor of love, was a conspiracy by design. No wonder, when Derek Wang's so anxious to rush to get a license, originally has such a layer of calculation in it. Originally, my in-laws treat me very well. I do not want to hurt the old man's heart. But now it seems that the only way for him to completely realize the betrayal of the taste of being counted on is to make him leave his family. At noon, my father-in-law came back from work and we were ready to eat. Mrs. Wang is in a very good mood because of her birthday and the gift she received today, while Derek Wang is eating with his head down. His face is a bit smelly, probably because he didn't get his money. Cece, you are now an associate senior, associate chief physician, and your career has reached a new level. Therefore, the matter of the child should be gradually put on the agenda. In fact, I don't want to put too much pressure on you, but you are an OB/GYN, so it's not good for you and the baby to have a baby at an advanced age. As you know, listening to Mrs. Wang's words, I deliberately lowered my head and used my chopsticks to pestle the grains of rice, pretending to be absent-minded. Mom is talking to you. Derek Wang looked at me, who lowered his head and didn't say a word, and pushed me with his elbow, with more than a hint of impatience in his tone. Derek Wang is like this. When he is in a bad mood or angry, he can yell at his mom, but he won't allow others to treat his mom badly. Seemingly rebuked by Derek Wang's steeply rising tone of voice, and remembering a pile of nasty things he has done lately that make people disgustingly refreshed, coupled with the viciousness of my pinching myself under the dining table, aggression has been brewing in me to the extreme. When I looked up again, just in time, a single tear snapped and dripped into the bowl. What's going on? What the hell is going on here? Mrs. Wang's gentle concern is the last of my mental defenses. I whimpered and cried out. As I cried, I shakily took out the carefully prepared laboratory test from my pocket and placed it on the table. Derek Wang took the lab sheet, scrutinized it for a while, but didn't understand it, and then handed it to Mrs. Wang. Mom, take a look. This pituitary gland prolactin is high. What's going on? Mrs. Wang took the test, looked at it for a while, and comforted me. I thought it was a big deal. It's just high prolactin. Have you checked the MRI of the pituitary gland? Mrs. Wang took the labs and looked at them for a while, reassuring me. I thought it was nothing serious. Just high prolactin. Did you check the pituitary MRI? Mrs. Wang held my hand and gently patted it. Have you taken bromocriptine? I've been taking it for a while, but the effect is not very satisfactory. I wiped the tears from the corners of my eyes and sobbed twice. Derek Wang seems to realize something, but do not dare to be very sure. Can only deliberately suppress the impatient emotions. Tone deliberately put a few points of soft. Mom, what's going on? Prolactin is a cause of female infertility, but it is not untreatable. But it's not impossible to cure, and getting pregnant afterward doesn't have to be difficult. Mrs. Wang said politely, taking my emotions into consideration from beginning to end. Derek Wang did not say a word of comfort to me from the beginning to the end, but I could clearly feel that he heaved a sigh of relief. The baby Luna Lu was carrying was his, and I couldn't have it. So, he was now very sure that he had no problem in the matter of having a baby. After a while, Derek Wang symbolically patted my hand. It's okay. If you have a disease, you have to cure it. And I, in my heart, was smiling. I know that this dose of medicine can not only dispel Derek Wang's deepest suspicion of himself, but also send him a signal that I have to adopt his and Luna Liu's child. As the saying goes, killing two birds with one stone. As I watched Derek Wong's face look relieved and pleased, I couldn't help but secretly raise the corners of my mouth. The pit has been dug. Just waiting for you to jump. After coming out of Mrs. Wong's house, Derek Wong and I went our separate ways. He went back to the hospital and I went home. Just after I arrived home, I received a WeChat picture sent to me by a classmate's best friend. During my college years, I didn't make a big deal out of myself and was helpful, so I made a lot of good friends. Fortunately, so many years have not broken contact. University classmates all over the world. Some have always insisted on the dream to continue to engage in clinical. There are also changing careers to choose their own hobbies. There are also inherited the family business. A wide range of contacts. Just like the classmate who sent me the divorce decree. Luna Liu. Studying at Hebei XX University. Majoring in electrical engineering automation. Is sweet-looking and cheerful. I quickly skipped over these contents and focused my attention on a court judgment of divorce. I opened my computer, logged into WeChat, downloaded this picture, and then enlarged it, reading it carefully line by line. It is written in black and white that Luna Liu was married to Sun Zihai during her college years and divorced because of emotional breakdown. And in order to make up for Luna Liu's youth, spiritual loss and so on, Sun Zihai compensated Luna Liu with $200,000. It turns out that Luna Liu is a repeat offender. Now, I suddenly realized, Luna Liu why to choose Derek Wong as a receiver. Property heir. This 3 words to Luna Liu has a great temptation. But this, too, made me break out in a cold sweat. I uploaded the pictures on my computer to my email and deleted them completely, taking my ID card and real estate license. I flew to the real estate office and checked that the name of the head of the household was indeed still in my name and Derek Wong's name. And the big stone that had been hanging in my heart just fell down. It seems that his brain is not completely in the water. However, if he knew that the simple and lovely Eneen in his heart was actually a salvage girl, he would be furious and stormy. Inexplicably, I was somewhat looking forward to that day coming sooner rather than later. The day Luna Liu was discharged from the hospital, I purposely took a leave of absence and waited in a cab on the opposite side of the road from the hospital entrance. Soon, I saw a familiar car, took the binoculars and carefully looked at the license plate number. It was Derek Wong. Master, follow that car across the street. In this cold winter, I deliberately chose a black, and then wore a deep black duck-tongue hat. The brim was also pressed low by me. Catch adultery? The cab master has been waiting here since the afternoon. Today his car. I rapped. I didn't say anything, just showed a bitter smile. Don't worry. I will definitely not let them find out. The thing I can't see in my life is a man cheating on his wife. The driver master followed with a second hand gesture. Derek Wong's car drove into a neighborhood and made 7 turns to stop at a parking space near a unit building. Just getting out of the car, the two kissed passionately. I didn't get out of the car until I saw them up the stairs. Girl, if you go to catch an adulterer, I'll record a video for you. I recorded it. It should be able to be used as evidence in court in the future. What I dislike most is eating from the pot and taking advantage of the bowl. My face is very calm. All of this today is just to determine one thing: where Luna Liu actually lives. The address of her hospitalization record. The current address column. Just wrote X City Yuhua Road. Did not specifically write XX district and door number. She is really living in the school district home we bought. Thinking that 3 months ago Derek Wong intentionally took 10,000 yuan and put it in a drawer, saying that it was the rent of this set of house. I feel ridiculous. Go back. Girl, Are you just going to let them off the hook? The driver master is still a little indignant. I smiled and didn't say anything. How could you let them off? The more they want to get things, I will destroy these in front of their eyes, so that they have nothing. In the evening, Derek Wong came home, perhaps to make up for the guilt in his heart. He took the initiative to make out with me, and instead of refusing, I held back my nausea and concurred. In his macho attitude perception, I do not refuse. It means that forgave his cheating. But at his most critical moment, I still let him lay down with a glib remark about his period coming. Since the purpose had been achieved, there was no need for me to put on a show. Although his and Luna Liu's syphilis and HIV results were normal, what if he hadn't passed the window period? I didn't want to use my life and health as a price. In the following days, no matter how late Derek Wong came home, I pretended to turn a blind eye. Not to be angry, not to question, and even sometimes pretended to be very sympathetic. The longer he stayed at Luna Liu's place, the better he took care of her fetus, the happier I was. At first, when Luna Liu's vomiting became obvious, Derek Wong would frown and even ask me carefully what to do. I smiled but didn't say anything. But in my heart, I thought, what's the point of pretending? It's past the early stages of pregnancy. Sure enough, it wasn't long before the sadness on Derek Wong's face gradually dissipated. Luna Liu's appetite opened up, and she liked to eat especially sour things. Whenever he mentioned this, Derek Wong's excitement was always uncontrollable, and he even had a feeling of ecstasy. Even one day when he came back, he just entered the door and excitedly shared with me, "Honey, Yinyin is pregnant with a boy. Our old Wong family finally has a descendant." I watched him smile so happily, and I was happy too. It's just that we each have different reasons for being happy. But lately her mouth is getting spicier and spicier. She always wants to eat spicy hot pot. Isn't this bad for the fetus? Then you can let her eat more green vegetables from the hot pot, so that the nutrition will be more balanced. This is the only comment I made about Luna Liu during her pregnancy and labor. I waited for a long time and dripped it. What he didn't know is that in the information my college friend sent me, along with Luna Liu's dietary preferences were recorded in great detail. She loves all kinds of flavors of hot pot, including animal offal, especially high-grade French foie gras. She doesn't realize that sometimes you think you're eating vegetables, but in fact the soup base is full of things that are really dangerous to your health. There are times when going with the flow is surprisingly effective. Watching them gradually fall into the net I had woven for them, I knew that it was not far from closing the net. A month later, in the early hours of the morning, I was just about to go to bed when I heard Derek Wong get a phone call. "What's wrong?" "Call 120. I will go to the hospital immediately." After that, not long after, I heard the sound of the door closing. Early the next morning, I just woke up and saw a bearded Derek Wong in the living room. His face was full of haggard. I think he didn't sleep all night. My wife, Yin, she has a ureteral stone. The doctor said that there is 20 millimeters size. Must be operated. But the operation is risky. If the child cannot keep how to do. I went up and gently patted him on the back. Just as he gently patted me on the back the night I walked in on him cheating on me. When I approached him in the break room and was surprised by his shameful tripe of wanting me to coexist with mistress. The moment he chose to betray our marriage, he and I had long since become enemies that would never be turned into enemies. That's why it hurt so much to watch Derek Wong's hesitation, sadness, and torn expression that had never appeared on his face in 8 years of marriage. When I saw Luna Liu's increasing uric acid levels on the hospital's lab system, I knew that justice never fails and that this bitch's retribution was coming. At this moment, I stood beside him, and from the beginning to the end, did not say a word. Silence is golden. This is my position today. But the hand movement is very gentle. One by one gently patting his back. Seems to be comforting him, but is encouraging him to say the truest thoughts of his heart. It's so hard for me to have a son. I hope my son can be born without any problems. However, the doctor said, you can try conservative treatment, playing progesterone injection, but the effect will be very poor, he said while his eyes actually began to redden. Progesterone, indeed, can relax the ureteral smooth muscle. To play a temporary can stop the pain of the purpose, but it is a cure for the symptoms, not the root cause. But the hospital does not give a fight. What to do? Even if I ask for a signature, no one is willing. I still did not say anything, because I know, looking forward to the son of the heart, he will try to do everything to mother to keep the son. Only, ureteral stone is a very painful disease, which will not only make you toss and turn and cry in pain, but even faint. Derek Wong wanted to keep the baby, which I can understand. But why did Luna Lu want to keep the baby even if it hurt like hell? And what could make her so reckless? In order to get the truth, I used all available resources to investigate Luna Liu's love life in the past 3 years. I hoped to find some clues. When I saw Luna Lu again, it was in the operating room. Director Sun and I had just finished a cervical cancer surgery. And before we had a chance to change our gowns, we were called by the urology department to their operating table for a coordinated resuscitation. The patient had ureteral stones for many days and had been infused with fluids for many days in a small clinic, missing the best time for surgery. And now only the renal cortex was left in the entire right kidney, which could only be surgically removed now. The most difficult thing was that the patient was 5 months pregnant and had a preeclampsia during the operation, causing uterine hemorrhage, and her vital signs were extremely unstable, so her life was in danger. I looked at Luna Lu, who was in a coma on the operating table with all kinds of tubes inserted and under general anesthesia. The original, almost so tender that she could be pinched out of water, has long since lost its vitality. My heart is a little painful, but also some mixed feelings. Let the family sign it. Can only first remove the uterus to save life. Otherwise hemorrhage shock. Cardiac arrest at any time. Director Sun made an immediate decision. The entire urology, obstetrics and gynecology and operating room collaborated to rescue 5 hours, and finally pulled Luna Lu back from the line of life and death. And I assisted from start to finish. The process couldn't be more standardized. And I don't dare not to be standardized. On the day I learned of Luna Liu's kidney stone attack, I purposely booked a flight ticket to Sanya for my in-laws. The purpose is to consolidate my good persona as a 24 filial piety good daughter-in-law. On the way home, Mrs. Wang kept talking excitedly about how beautiful and desirable the jelly water of Wuzizu Island was. It also made up for the regret of not having time to travel to Sanya after so many years on duty. The flamboyant look and cheerful tone of voice showed everywhere the satisfaction and praise for me as a daughter-in-law. Cece. Everyone envies me for picking a good daughter-in-law back then. You are much better than Donzi. For so many days, you don't know to make a phone call. Where does he have the time and energy to call now? Even though he is very attentive and doesn't move an inch to take care of Luna Lu. Luna Lu seems to be crazy and tortures him and insults him. I didn't say anything, pretending to be preoccupied as I drove. Only then did Mrs. Wang notice that I was different. What's wrong? Cece. What's wrong? Mom. I may not be your daughter-in-law. My eyes began to redden. along with my voice was a bit unable to restrain the trembling. Derek Wong he has someone outside. He also got someone else's stomach pregnant. Hospitalized in our department. More and more involved. My tears cannot control the flow down. Go to the hospital. Mrs. Wang is furious. Mom. We can't go. If we go, Dongzi and I really won't be able to live. The more I pretended to be a victim, the more Mrs. Wang felt sorry for me. We, the Wang family, recognize only you, Audrey Sue, as our daughter-in-law. Now, immediately, go to the hospital. I half-heartedly drove the car to the hospital. Mom, you must not be in a hurry. You are old. Before I finished, the furious Mrs. Wang windily dragged me to the elevator. Derek Wang, you bastard. Return my son. It's really bad luck that I met you. I hate you. I will never forgive you in this life. You dog man. Tone. Calm down. If I hadn't signed the papers, you wouldn't have survived. If I hadn't signed the papers, you wouldn't have been able to save your life. And am more upset than you are about the loss of your child. I really did it for your own good. It was an emergency situation. In the hospital room, Luna Lu, as usual, lost her temper and made a fuss, while Derek Wong licked his face like a grandson and apologized, accompanying her to vent her emotions. Snap! Snap! Just as the two were bickering, Mrs. Wang stepped forward and slapped each of them. The two of them were left red-faced and dumbfounded. Mom, what are you doing? Derek Wong just wanted to curse. But when he saw that the visitor was Mrs. Wang, his tone shortened by half. I would like to ask you what you are doing. Mrs. Wang was so angry that her face turned red and she was panting. Mom, am I still your own son? Derek Wong's eyes are red and he is a bit furious. Apologize to Audrey Sue. There is still time to slow down this matter. Otherwise, don't blame me for disowning you as my son. Mrs. Wong's voice is cold and stern. I kept shrinking behind Mrs. Wong, not saying a word, pretending to be aggrieved and helpless after knowing for the first time. And my tears could not stop flowing down. When Mrs. Wang saw this, she was even more distressed, pointing at Luna Liu's nose and cursing. These days, what are you not good at stealing? But you want to steal from others. This kind of behavior, if in ancient times, you have to go to the piggy bank. I don't know how your parents gave birth to such a shameless daughter. It's a disgrace. A shame to your family. Is someone else's husband that good? The more she said, the more angry she got. Mrs. Wang's face was like the color of pig's liver. But she didn't feel relieved. So she took a big step forward and wanted to slap Luna Lu again. Seeing this, I hurriedly held Mrs. Wang's mom. Forget about it. Luna Lu covered the blood marks on her face. Her eyes scarlet. As if a mad beast. No longer the previous days of the poor little white lotus look. Revealing the teeth and claws of the hideous. She pointed at me and roared. Derek Wong. This is the dead woman. Took out my uterus. And killed our son. Immediately afterward. I saw Luna Lu holding back her still healing wounds and making a move to get up and hit someone. I watched with cold eyes. And the hand that had been tugging on Mrs. Wang intentionally loosened. And then Mrs. Wang broke free of my restraints. Quickly stepped forward. Knocked off her finger pointing at me. And pulled up Luna Liu's hair. And snapped a few big mouths and smacked them on. Luna Lu, who has not yet recovered from her illness, is no match for Mrs. Wang. I tell you, no one can destroy my son's marriage. As long as I am alive, I will only recognize Audrey Sue as my daughter-in-law. The scene was chaotic. But I watched calmly, watching this farce, watching them tear each other apart, while my hands were clean, and I couldn't be happier. Mom, my son is gone. You do not add to the chaos. Derek Wang saw that the scene could not be controlled, and casually copied the side of the monitor towards the ground. Bang! The whole world was instantly quiet. Hubby, how can that be your son? You have azoospermia. Ah! I smiled helplessly, pretended to be surprised, took out the medical report from my pocket that had been dusty at the bottom of the drawer for a long time, and handed it to Derek Wang, who was furious and couldn't do anything about it. With a pretense of trembling, I watched his face turn pale from anger, staring at the 3 big words on the medical report with disbelief, and then ran out of the room like a madman. After 3 years of preparation, how could I not get pregnant? As an obstetrician and gynecologist, I know my own body like the back of my hand, and all the indicators on the targeted tests were normal. I had also suggested Derek Wang for a checkup, but every time the issue came up, he rejected it mercilessly as if I doubted his ability in some way. So then, I secretly took his semen specimen to be tested. I had thought that in this life, without children can also respect each other, hand in hand to old age. However, he betrayed our oath. Half an hour later, Derek Wang came back with the report card in his hand and was furious. Like a mad beast, he dragged Luna Lu off the bed, from one end of the ward to the other, kicking her back and forth like a ball. Her miserable screams could be heard throughout the ward. Damn! For the sake of the child in your belly, I have been treating you like a grandmother every day, giving you good food, wearing good clothes, and giving you money to spend. But in the end, you tell me that the child is not mine. Let me raise a son for you to someone else. Do you think you are fooling a fool? Luna Lu instinctively resisted, clawing and scratching him, but she was no match for Derek Wang in his mad state. In a short while of work, fell down, only to curl up body, nestled in the corner, hate to gnash teeth. Derek Wang, you are not a man. What kind of man is it to hit a woman? I have suffered so much for you, almost lost half of my life, and you still care whether the child is yours or not. It's your fault that people like you can't have children. After that, Luna Lu laughed like crazy. And this is simply Derek Wang macho attitude in violable scales. You bitch. Simply do not know what is good and bad. After that, Derek Wang arrow stepped straight to the corner of the Luna Lu. In her not yet reacted to the time, was Derek Wang in a lightning fast speed like carrying a small chicken general pickup. Derek Wang pressed her against the wall and tightened his grip on her neck. Luna Liu's bloodless face turned blue in an instant, and the cyanosis between her lips became heavier and heavier. She tried to struggle, but the suffocation contained in her throat prevented her hands from exerting the slightest amount of strength, and only her feet stomped and swaggered helplessly. Please, let go of me. I was wrong. Until the softening, Derek Wang then loosened his hand, and Luna Lu, under the effect of gravity, fell down hard on the cold floor, panting heavily. In the future, as far as possible, get the hell out of here. After Derek Wang finished, he quenched Luna Liu's body fiercely twice before leaving in satisfaction. And in Luna Liu's lifeless eyes, a hint of sinister malice steeply rose. Derek Wang, you wait for me. I will not let you go. I stood outside the door of the ward, coldly watching the sourness of their tearing each other apart, and smiled in my heart. And Derek Wong's ruthlessness and determination really impressed me. It's true. A dog bites a dog. A mouthful of hair. And all this, far from being over, because there is still an important character, did not appear. Honey, I was wrong. It's all my fault for being fooled by her innocent look at first. Let's make up. Okay? Outside the ward, Derek Wong tugged at my arm, like a stray dog wagging its tail. I coldly looked at a bloodstain on his face, and a sneer crossed my lips. Once unfaithful, never used in life. But I don't want to leave yet. Because, at the end of the building, I saw a very trendy dressed trust fund kid hurrying to rush, looking left and right as if looking for someone. Luna Lu. Get out of here! That curse made the battlefield, which had just regained its calmness, once again fall into a fierce fight. How did you promise me in the first place? Take the money I gave you. Said to abort the child. And, as a result, even hid from me to try to secretly give birth. You also do not look at you this goods. The strongest ground table, but also a divorced salvage girl. Also worthy of giving birth to our family's child. Or did you make up your mind to give birth to a child and ask me for exorbitant alimony? Why didn't I know you were so cheap? Cracking and snapping. Another round. 20 minutes later, that trust fund kid swaggered out, although his face was also hung with color. But the smug look still could not hide the fact that he was the most beautiful boy in this building. All the losses in this ward today will be compensated by Luna Lu. She screwed me with so much money in the first place. A little blood is considered cheap for her. Trust fund kid left. Saw Derek Wong beside him. First stunned, and then stopped. Shook his hand. Said in a long speech, brother. Hard for you. When the receiver. But such a woman. We see once. Fight once. In any case. I want to thank you. I heard that it was you who signed the informed consent for the surgery and gave me a solution to my worries. That tone of sincerity and thanks. But let Derek Wong as if sitting on pins and needles. Face for a moment miserable white. A moment of iron blue. Looking at trust fund kid's disappearing figure. The corner of my lips swept out a smile that no longer needed to be controlled. I used all the resources I could use to find out half a year ago. Luna Lu began to hook up. Design trust fund kid. Luring him into the set. Cheating money. But also gradually learned that the child she is pregnant with is trust fund kid. From the beginning to the end, Derek Wong is a running mate. But for a woman like Luna Lu, how could she refuse a man who loves her and gives her money? Next. I knew it was my turn. Looking at the mess on the ground. And Luna Lu sitting on the ground. My heart is full of pain. But my face still pretends to be a sympathetic look. And my mouth let out a tisk tsk sayu. Really poor At this time because by Mrs. Wong. By Derek Wong. And trust fund kid rounds of brutal beatings of her. Both sides of the cheeks and lips swollen like a pig's head in general. Hair like a chicken nest. Where can still see half of the usual sweet appearance. And she, eyes without God, laxly staring at the ground, do not know what to think. The spirit is nearly collapsed. If I had known this, why would I have done it in the first place? In this world, the most impossible to steal is other people's men. See me come in. Luna Lu raised lax eyes. See clearly is me. Eyes only began to focus. As if remembering what general. Suddenly realized that you are right. Right. All this is all you have long been designed. Is not it? Immediately after that. It was like crazy. Maniacal. staggeringly braced himself, and his eyes were about to pounce on me. That is, you. I am going to sue you. After many times of melee, Lunaloo has long been the end of a strong crossbow, where there is still the slightest fighting power. I just gently sidestepped, then let her pounce on an empty. Accidentally she fell back to the ground. Sue me for what? I walked to Lunaloo's side, half bent over, a slight smile on my lips. My tone was very soft and gentle. Sue you for cutting my uterus. You conspired to harm me. Lunaloo's eyes were scarlet red. She held herself up, and even though she exerted all her strength, she didn't get up. I took out my cell phone slowly from my pocket and called up the surveillance video of that day's surgery. For this video, I deliberately went to the information section and the surveillance room and made several copies, fearing that she would bite back. I pointed to the video of more than a dozen people wearing green surgical gowns. One by one. This is the director of urology. This is the director of the Department of Anesthesiology. This is the director of our obstetrics and gynecology son. And the rest of these. Do you want to sue all of these? Do you want to go to the lawsuit? Do I want to pass you a copy of this video footage so that you can see that? In order to save you, our medical staff has been working at a high level of concentration for 5 hours. And death is running. Lunaloo was dumbfounded by my dislike. After a long time, she was murmuring, "Did you already know who I am?" It wasn't very early. It was the time I accidentally found out 2 months ago when I admitted you to the hospital. At that time, Derek Wang said that he would break contact with you. So I believed him. By this time Derek Wang was long gone. So what's a little dirt on him? What? That's what he said. But you guys, aren't you divorced? Obviously. He showed me your divorce certificate. Lunaloo seems to recall something in general, muttering to herself. Also yes. These days. The man's mouth. How can you believe? The divorce decree can also be PS. But I never thought that Derek Wang would even lie to me about this. I looked at Lunaloo, dawning realization. Just a pity. Understand too late. He's not also promised you wait for you to give birth to the child. The house you now live in transferred to you? How do you know? Of course I know. At the beginning, Lunaloo also want to keep the child despite the risk to her life. Although I guess that there may be trust fund kid factor. But if Derek Wang does not lie to Lunaloo with significant benefits, how could she willingly give him a child? It's just that greed and obsession blinded you and made you lose your thinking mind. I deliberately sighed and pretended to be disappointed. In fact, you and I are the victims of this farce. If he did not want both, you would not have become such a mess. Derek Wang, he is the real culprit. I watched Lunaloo's fists clenched tightly. A pair of swollen eyes once again lit up with the fire of anger, and even exuded a kind of malice and viciousness that made people shudder. And I knew that today's purpose had been achieved. Then, without looking back, he left. Heaven's sins can be forgiven. The sins of the self cannot live. You Lunaloo is like this. Derek Wang will be like this. All will not end well. And in the end, I became the most innocent person in this farce. From the beginning to the end, my hands are clean. I just took advantage of their respective weaknesses. Took advantage of their human nature. Let them tear each other dog eat dog. Just what they don't know is that when I first arranged ultrasound for Lunaloo, because she had pain in her small abdomen, I arranged ultrasound for her kidney and appendix in addition to the ultrasound for the pregnancy test. It was a surprise to find a couple of not-so-small stones on the kidneys. I just mentioned Derek Wang to tell Lunaloo to pay attention to balanced diet. Such advice is dripping everywhere. only that she loved hot pot too much and was too greedy. So she ended up getting herself into trouble. It was only after a month that Luna Lu got better and was discharged from the hospital. But just after she was discharged, she went back to her unit and made a scene, posting an intimate video of her and Derek Wang on the unit's WeChat group. Male boss seduces female subordinate. Shameless. A series of heavy gossip, all thrown out, in the unit caused an uproar. And even a kind person posted to the internet. Things are getting more and more intense. And finally the unit, in order to put things to rest, minimize the impact of the two, will be both dismissed. I also used Luna Liu's evidence to sue for divorce. Because Derek Wang cheated on me first. As the party at fault in the marriage, the court awarded me all of our school district home and all of the family's property. Derek Wang was left with nothing. And during the marriage, Derek Wang transferred $100,000 to Luna Lu. I also threw legal means to get back. Later I vaguely heard. After Luna Lu was fired from the organization, she has been unable to make a living. In the end, she could only rely on a part-time job to make ends meet. But she is usually used to spending a lot of money. How to earn enough money to cover her expenses. So not only spent all her savings, but also continued to go on the old job of fishing for women. However, in this not-so-big city, her reputation has long been infamous. A lot of men to her is also play. And a few sincere. So, in the end, not only did she not get any benefits, but she was also cheated frequently. Along with her body, she collapsed day by day. And in the end, her spirit even began to appear abnormal. And even crazy. In the end, I heard that she was admitted to a mental hospital. I, in order to avoid nausea, did not hesitate to list the school district home with the agent. At the moment I sold the house, I received a call from the medical department, saying that there was suddenly one more vacancy in the evaluation of chief physicians, and that I could be considered for the position of chief physician. 3 months later, just as I was leaving my office, Derek Wang got down on one knee, holding a bouquet of brightly colored roses. "Honey, will you give me another chance? Mom said you will always be her daughter-in-law." I took a big step forward, stood to the side of the resuscitation bed, pulled the curtain over the head of the bed, and asked straight away. From just. He never knew. "I like lilies," meaning 100 years of good luck, rather than roses with thorns, stabbing me all over the body. If I had known it would come to this, I would not have done it in the first place. "Get lost." I coldly dropped a few words. Did not even look at him. Straight away. In my eyes. He's no better than a stranger. Seeing him makes me sick. As I drove home, I thought about the negative results of my syphilis HIV test that I found on the computer today. And I felt happier. Outside the window of the car, the birds are singing and the cicadas are chirping. Summer is here. From now on, I will love myself more.